After the tornado of 1953 struck downtown Waco, all power was off in the area, interrupting communications and radio broadcast. After only an hour, a local radio station was able to get back on the air using an emergency generator. What you're about to hear is a recording of the actual broadcast that originated from downtown Waco over WACO radio within an hour or so of the impact of the devastating storm that killed 114 people on May 11, 1953.
And back in downtown Waco, this is Show Call. We have another gentleman here we'd like to talk to. This is the manager of the Walgreens drugstore. What is your name, please, sir?
Jose. I'm really assistant manager, sir.
I see. And when did the tornado hit, according to your time?
Well, at the time clock stopped, it was about 20 minutes till 5.
Do you know, could you tell us how it seemed to hit?
Well, it was, we were expecting, we have a barometer in the store, and it was dropping rapidly. And we knew that there's something terrible was coming because it was at the lowest point. And then all of a sudden, the wind got so high, it took about 3 or 4 of us to hold the front door, and then it knocked a large plate glass window out. And of course, it just turned so dark where we couldn't see across the street. And after it cleared up, well, then we could see what really happened. The buildings and everything, the debris just scattered all over the street. It's almost impossible to describe what really.
Were there any folk who made their way into your store right after the tornado for first aid or with injuries?
Well, not very many. There were slight injuries. They didn't seem to notice. I noticed several men. They had their sleeves bloody, but they didn't come in for first aid. They're really
pitching in to help rescue the other people who were.
That's right. They were really more interested to do their part in helping the others that were more seriously hurt.
Was there anyone in your store injured?
No, not in the one. Not in the one. Of course, everything went dark. The lights went out, and of course, we're still without lights.
That's right. And of course, it blew out your big front window.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We noticed that the sign on the Earl Hotel is in very precarious straits, as though it might fall at any moment.
That's right. To direct the traffic, the pedestrians around it so they wouldn't go under it.
Wouldn't you say, sir, that the military and the civilian volunteers, the National Guardsmen, the firemen, the Red Cross, hasn't been a tremendous effort on the part of everyone?
They're wonderful. They're just really, they're doing their part, I can say that.
And now we can also see what might happen someday if bombs were dropped in this country.
Oh, yes. It should be a good lesson to all of us and be prepared.
I think that this sort of a thing, regardless, it's a horrible thing. We all know that. But it shows us just that it can happen here. And a tornado shows us that sort of thing.
Right.
By the way, as our studio told our listeners a while ago, there are people calling from all over Texas volunteering help and aid. We have no accurate count yet as to how many people are dead and injured, but we do know that it's running into scores both ways. An ambulance is going down Austin Avenue right now toward the dentist building. Have you had an opportunity to be down there, sir? Have you been down to the dentist building as yet?
No, not very close. No, sir. I was about a half a block away. That's as close as I could get.
I see. Well, thank you so much.
Soon after it happened, and of course, I really don't know what to say. It just was horrible.
Yes, it does. It certainly does.
I can say that we have depleted all our first aid material, what is really needed in giving a first aid. We're completely out of everything now.
In other words, you're still staying there in case you can't help.
Yes, flashlights. I have repaired more broken down flashlights in order to send them out.
I'll bet you have. Well, thanks so much, sir. We hear that other parts of Waco are hit also. We're going to try to get out there at some future time this evening, just as soon as we can clear through here. I know that Doug Raines and Dan Hazlett are working on that right now.
We have this information right now, Phil, from Telson Maynard at Emmanuel Baptist Church, who has just phoned WACO to say that the roof of the Emmanuel Baptist Church at 1124 South 19th collapsed at 8:50 this evening. The roof of the Emmanuel Baptist Church at 1124 South 19th collapsed at 8:50 this evening, obviously due to a weakened condition caused by the heavy rains and heavy wind this afternoon. We'll repeat that once more. Telson Maynard, pastor of the Emmanuel Baptist Church, reports to WACO that the roof of Emmanuel Baptist Church collapsed at 8:50 this afternoon. We have this further word from Baylor. The only damage to Baylor was to a few trees. No buildings, no one was hurt at Baylor. No buildings damaged. The only damage was to a few small trees. And now once again back downtown.
And back downtown in Waco, trucks move by to take out the debris, take out the rubble, which once was the proud downtown section, the proud business section of Waco, Texas. We have another gentleman here with, I believe that's an Air Force garrison captain. What is your name, please, sir?
Rodley, Surrey.
And where are you from, Rodley?
I'm from Waco now. I've been living here the last 5 years.
I see. And you're stationed here?
No, I'm in reserve now.
Oh, you're
going to Baylor.
I see. All the Baylor boys have turned out quite well here, Rodney.
Sure.
How long have you been on duty?
Well, I come on here about 6:30, 7:15.
And what have you been doing since the time you've been on?
I worked in Walgreens, but then I found out that they called out the Baylor ROTC, so I went back and put on my reserve uniform and come out here. And been helping direct traffic and stop people from coming into the restricted area.
How many times have you seen ambulances go by you?
Oh, can't count them.
There have been countless casualties here, we know that. And all the Baylor students have helped out. As we say, everyone else has helped out too. Rodney, thanks so much. We're going to try to move down to Dennis's here in just a few minutes or so. I think right now they may have some more information for you from back at the WACO studio in regards to tornado conditions. Okay, Ted.
This on Waco Direct Live.
We have this information from Lieutenant Commander George R. Mormon. He says all naval reservists who have not reported report in uniform to Lieutenant Commander George R. Mormon at 303 Austin Avenue, at the Pipkins Drugs, or on the square. Wear white hats, bring identification cards, flashlights, and raincoats. Report by midnight or before. We'll repeat that. All naval reservists who have not reported, report in uniform to Lieutenant Commander George R. Mormon at 303 Austin Avenue and Pipkins Drug on the square. Wear white hats, bring identifications, flashlights, and raincoats. Report by midnight or before.
In downtown Waco, we have very little to tell you right now. Jack, our driver, we're trying to work out a route with him so we can get right down next to the Dennis building where the floodlights are still beaming onto what was once a beautiful building. Workers are working on that particular building, taking lumber and bricks away from it, trying to find out just how many people are down underneath all that rubble. Actually, we don't want you to come downtown in Waco. Please stay out of the downtown area in so far as possible, unless it's just a matter of life or death, because if you do come downtown in Waco tonight, it may be a matter of life or death, your life or your death. Down here, too, gas is still escaping from mains. The police department and the fire department constantly reminds us to please be careful. Please keep alerting people to the fact that there should be no cigarettes burning down here. There should be no fire unless it's absolutely necessary, because there is still an extreme danger of fire despite all the heavy rains we've had during this particular terrific storm. The lightning still lights up the sky, silhouetting buildings against the dark background. Sort of a reminder that maybe we aren't all through with the rain and the wind, at least anyway. And as I talk to you, huge darts of lightning come down from the heavens and hit someplace we don't know where, of course. There's a railroad train going through down there, in all probability, oblivious to what's been going on here. But of course, we don't know whether or not they will be able to get through. We don't know whether the railroad bridge is open or not across the river here. Right now, we are waiting for Doug Raines and the other members of our special events crew to come back and give us some more information on what's going on down there. Here's a welder which is just going by now, going by to try to cut through some steel beams down in the Dennis building, they tell us. That's followed by another portable welder, and then a pickup truck loaded with lumber going out. They're dropping the lumber down here on Austin Avenue, right here in front of the Walgreens store. They're dropping it in there and dropping huge beams which are cutting. Down there in front of the shoe store, which our friend was telling you about just a few minutes ago, we can see pots and pans sitting on the curb. A weighing machine sits right in the middle of the street, left just exactly where it was blown this afternoon. You can't believe the scene of destruction until you see it. It's far too difficult to comprehend. And as I say, we're waiting for Doug Raines to get back here with Goodson McKee
While we're waiting, Phil, we'd like to interrupt right here to give some names that we've received in the WACO newsroom. Now, these are names of people who have reported at Hillcrest for treatment. This is only a partial list of names. Some of the people have reported and been released. Some of them are still there. We do not have any information as to who or how much they were injured. These names we have: James Hadley, 100 Barron Street. J.I. Thomas, no address. E.I. Talbert, no address. V.E. Hopkinson, 2423 Summer. Mrs. Vera Pillow, 708 South 9th. Mrs. Fanny Sloan, McGregor, Texas. Mary Ida Blackburn, 323 Lorena Drive. Robert Cox, 1515 South 8th. Charlie Espinoza, 705 North 4th. Francis Morehouse, 323 Jefferson. H.F. Bleshy, B-L-O-E-S-C-H-E, Bleshy, of the Statler Hotel. W.T. Garrett, 2005 Pine. Mrs. B.M. Broodnox, B-R-O-O-D-N-O-X, 1052 Chestnut. Manuel Herrera, 319 Chestnut. J.P. Green, 3905 Fort. That is a partial list of people who have reported for treatment at Hillcrest. They've been brought to Hillcrest and treated. Some of them are still there. Some of them have been released to go home. We do not know the extent of any of the injuries. We are going to repeat the list of names: James Hadley, J.I. Thomas, E.I. Talbert, V.E. Hopkinson, Mrs. Vera Pillow, Mrs. Fanny Sloan, Mary Ida Blackburn, Robert Cox, Charlie Espinoza, Francis Morehouse, H.F. Bleshy, W.T. Garrett, Mrs. B.M. Broodnox, Manuel Herrera, and J.P. Green. We repeat, this is only a partial list. These people have reported for treatment at Hillcrest. They are only injured. Some of them have been released. Some of them are still there. And now once again we take you to downtown Waco.
Back with the WACO mobile unit, the WACO special events staff. We are still cruising. We're cruising now down 6th Street. We're going to attempt to turn here. We're going to turn down Franklin and then try to come back up to the Dennis building from the rear to give you a word picture of just what is going on there. Passing the, let's stop here a minute, Jack, if you will, please. We're passing the National Guard Armory now, and we're going to try to get out and see what we can find out here about the casualties. This is probably a very good place that Jack is going to pull over here now. We're going to stop right here in front of the National Guard Armory on 6th Street in downtown Waco, Texas.
And while you're pulling over there, Phil, we have this further message just received in the WACO newsroom. J.W. Barnes reports that no one was seriously injured at Higginbotham Wholesale. For those of you who are interested, we reported a moment ago that the roof of Higginbotham Wholesale had been blown off. J.W. Barnes from there reports that no one seriously injured. J.V. Brewington was slightly injured. We repeat, only slightly injured. J.P. Brewington. This other estimate of damage, about $5,000 worth of damage at Paul Quinn College in East Waco in the George B. Young Auditorium, the workshop and laundry, but no one was injured. We repeat, no one injured at Paul Quinn. About $5,000 worth of damage at Paul Quinn in the George B. Young Auditorium and in the workshop and laundry. Before returning you to downtown Waco, we want to remind you that you're tuned to WACO in Waco, 1460 on your radio dial. And here, the weather information from the Weather Bureau. Shannon Teal at the United States Weather Bureau at Municipal Airport reports to us that Waco and Temple are still in a tornado area. However, there are no tornadoes in the forming stage at the present time. We repeat, there is no danger at the present time. If a tornado should begin to form, if indications show that there is a possibility of a tornado, we will give you that information at the earliest possible moment. We will give you all the advance information there is possible to give. So keep tuned to WACO throughout the evening for all the latest weather information. And now, back to downtown Waco.
In front of the National Guard Army on 6th Street, we have a gentleman here with whom we'd like to talk. What is your name, please, sir?
Marshall Green.
And where are you from?
Greenfield, home in Rosebud, Texas.
And when were you called into Waco, sir?
Well, I was called by my editor, and he said it was needed ambulances, and I came on up. I had a little accident up here on 18th and Franklin, but I'm here to help them. I think it's the worst tragedy I've seen in Waco in many years.
What are you doing over in front of the armory now? What is your job?
I'm in first aid, helping them, try to evacuate them back to the hospital, get running first aid to them, then get them out as fast as I can to James County Hospital. All the hospitals in town are full. We'll send them direct to James County Airfield.
How many folks have you seen taken in that National Guard Armory this evening?
How many?
Approximately, how many injured have you seen taken in
Well,
there?
I've seen about 20 or 25 in the last hour, and some of them with back injuries, some in compound fractures of leg and arm, and we'll be giving blood plasma to one. We've already sent him to Connors Air Base Hospital, and he's in pretty bad shape.
But you did tell us one thing, that you as yet have had no casualties over here. Isn't that right? No fatalities.
No casualties at the armor here on Franklin Street as of yet.
Since the listeners may wonder what the noise they hear in the background is, could you tell us about that?
The noise that you hear in the background is that's the portable power machine that we're using to load the throw light on the ambulances so we can load them out as quick as possible.
That certainly is.
We've had lots of trouble where we've got the Army here and the National Guard to try to keep bystanders away.
And they're doing a fine job.
They're doing a very fine job, and I'll turn you over to the announcer.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. What is your name, please, sir?
Bruce Calloway.
How long have you been down here today, Bruce?
Well, I guess about 30 minutes after it happened, I suppose.
See, you just walked on the scene. Did you know what had happened before you got down here?
No, I didn't. I went over to the grocery store to get some groceries, and one of the men that works at one of the places on the square came. He lives right next door to me, and he came in and said it just had torn up his automobile, and the places on the square were just demolished. So I left home, came right on down, and started helping.
What have you been doing here?
Well, I've been digging in the debris over here at R.T. Dennis Company, and there's thought that there's a man in an automobile on the street there, and all of the stuff piled on top of him, but so far we wasn't able to find anyone in there.
What have you found in the R.T. Dennis Company?
Well, so far, the crew that was digging with me, we haven't found anything.
Just clearing it away, trying to find if there are people there, right?
Yes, no, I just came around here to get a cup of coffee, and I'm going back.
You're on your way back right now. We certainly don't want to keep you from getting back over there because we know this is a superhuman job that has to be done. Thank you so much for stopping to talk to us. Yes, sir. What is your name, please?
Frank James.
And what are you doing in the effort to clean up this tornado wreckage, Mr. James?
Been digging in the rubble over there behind the Palace Grill.
And has there been any casualties over there?
There's 25 or 30 in there now. We've hauled out a couple of them, and we've located several others and gotten to them with plasma and oxygen, but they're still pinned down, and you have to clean the rubble off.
The Palace Grill, now where is that?
That's between 4th and 5th, facing on Franklin. That whole block is leveled down there.
That then is right down in here, then, isn't it?
It's kind of the next block here.
Are there any of those people in there who are dead?
Yes, there's some dead ones in there, too.
Gracious sakes. It makes you feel as though, well, actually, it sounds very trite for a grown man to say, but it makes you feel like breaking down and crying, doesn't it?
Well, I saw one young fellow running around here. His mother's in there.
Well, the palace had about 25 or 30 people in it.
Yeah, well, his mother wasn't in there, but he was over by R.T. Dennis.
That was the Duncan boy. I was talking to him a little while ago, not on the air, but in another place. And you're going back down there now.
I'm going back down there.
How many people have they taken out down there thus far?
They've taken down 2 or 3 down there.
And have any of them been dead?
The ones they've taken out were alive. There are some dead ones in there.
Well, that's fine. We're glad that so many people are coming out of it. with injuries of one kind or another, and not being too seriously injured.
Incidentally, the one that we've uncovered has just got his foot pinned, and he's all right. When we can dig down to him, his name Donald Hansard.
Donald Hansard?
Hansard, Bell Mead.
All right, may we say that very plainly for our radio audience? Donald Hansard of Bell Mead.
Of Bell Mead.
So we can put that down on our injury list, but he's all right.
We've got him to him. He's getting oxygen, and he's just pinned down with his foot, and we've got to remove a lot of rubble to get at him.
That whole street down there is blocked, by the way, isn't it, sir?
Yes, the whole street.
Look right down the street there to it. Thank you so much. I know you want to get back down there. Let's see. Who do we have here? What is your name?
Do you know where the martial law area has been declared yet?
No, sir, I don't. I wouldn't know that.
Declared, but I'm going to point out exactly.
Now, there's something we didn't know, Jack. We've just been told that martial law has been declared. We're going to begin to move down Franklin Street here again, so while we do, let's return you now to our studios in Ted.
All right, Phil, we're here with more information. We just received word that the S.M. Kirkpatrick building down close to the square right off Franklin Avenue was demolished, no one injured. We have this further information. If you want to find out the names of any person injured or wounded in any way, please call the Red Cross. The Red Cross is disseminating the names of people injured or dead in the disaster area. That number is 619.